Hey everyone, so AIVolt sent over this electric pressure washer for me to review, and I'm really glad that I like it, okay? Spoiler alert, I do like it. I was a little bit hesitant at first because I wasn't sure of it being electric instead of gas, but yeah, I should have bought one a long time ago. So I'm gonna do an unboxing and a full assembly, which is like really easy. I'll talk about the pressure ratings of these electric washers. I walk through all of the hoses, nozzles, features, and general info, and give you some tips on pressure washing. I then use it on some dirty landscaping bricks, sidewalk, vinyl siding, and review its overall performance. I really wanted to do a direct comparison between this electric one and my old gas pressure washer, but gas one wouldn't start this year. Go figure. So I end up talking about why I like this one so much better anyway. So let's get started. At the end, I do a final review and wrap up. And what I'm really excited about and why I've wanted an electric pressure washer is for these, okay? Foam cannon, super mega foam. I've been dying to get like a real foam cannon for a long time. I bought a, supposed foam cannon thing for my hose, but without the pressure. It's okay, all right? It's all right. I'm gonna do a review on that, but I can't wait to use these, and stay tuned, like and subscribe. I'm gonna be doing a review on these, and I can't wait, all right? I can't wait. So as usual, all the links are below. You can pick this up on Amazon, but before you do that, please do me a favor and like and subscribe. Let's see what we got in the box. Some assembly required. Looks pretty good, not that heavy. Okay, let's see if we could put this thing together. Goes here. We'll slide that in, and 2 screws here. It's the gun holder. Push it down there. That just stays there. All right, this guy goes in here, and then gets pushed in and then turned. So now it's locked in place. Okay, this just basically, this gets pressed into there, and that's it. Okay, so this hook gets attached this way. These 4 screws. Okay. All right, this gets pushed in here. Boom, just like that. And it's going to be stuck in there until you release it with this button. Otherwise, that's it. Just like that. This goes here. That goes here, and that's it. Check it out. Got this really long cord. All right, this is a GFCI, which is pretty nice. These are required anytime you've got water and electricity. This is a 35-foot cord, okay? 35 feet. That makes us a lot more portable. I mean, you gotta deal with a cord, but 35 feet. Okay, 20-foot hose. That's nice. So what, you got 55 feet? Yeah, I can add. Now, let's talk about this. 3,000 PSI, 2.6 gallons a minute. All of these electric pressure washers that I've seen running off of 120 volts, you're never going to get 3,000 PSI out of that, all right? Even in the book, even in the instruction book, the manual they send you. What does it say? I'm going to read this for you here. Look at this. You got max pressure, working pressure, and then transient pressure. So max pressure, 2,500 PSI. All right, I get that. Max pressure, 2,500 PSI. Okay, working pressure though. So what you're normally going to see, 1,750 PSI. Now those are pretty normal specs. Again, something that runs off 120 volts. This, it also says it takes 14 amps. So typically you're not going to have anything that runs off of electricity that takes more than 15 amps, because typical circuits are about 15 amps. Sometimes you get 20 amp circuits, but you can't really depend on that. So everything they try to keep under 15 amps. So at 14 amps, you're going to get about 1,800 watts. Well, 1,750 watts it says here. You're going to get about 1,750 PSI. That's pretty normal. Now, 3,000 psi, that's where this transient pressure comes in. And look what they say, under specific experimental conditions. So I don't know what they did, what kind of experiments they ran to get that, but anyway, that's not really dissing on AIVolt here at all. That's not to rip on them. They all do this. They all do this to try to pump these numbers up. But if you really look into all of these electric pressure washers, they all do the same thing, and they all pretty much put out the same PSI. All right? That's all I'm going to say on this. Let's look at some other things here. All right, let's take a look at these nozzles. Now, oh, we got them plugged in here. So this red one, this is what they call a 0-degree nozzle. This is super aggressive. So take a look at that nozzle. I hope that's focusing in, but it's barely an opening there. That means you're going to get max pressure out of this thing. You got to be careful using a nozzle like this. So then we get into like, this is it's called like a 0 degree, 15, 25, 40, 65. And when you get to here, you could see the opening is like huge. This is considered gentle, and they say you mix soap and things like that in here with it, in with the water. You know, it's just gentle. You're not going to do any damage with that. So you really need to experiment with everything that you're doing first, because you can do a lot of damage with a pressure washer. And even though this one is not like super powerful like some of the gas pressure washers are, you still do a lot of damage with one of these things. What they give you too is this nice little wire pick thing. I don't even know if it's showing up, but you can use this if you get anything caught in these nozzles. Put this in there and pick it out. That's pretty nice, pretty cool little tool to have. All of these here are pretty standard, quick release. You know, this is industry standard stuff here. Same with all these nozzles. This piece here, I put this in during assembly. You kind of push down on it, turn it, and you could take this off. This hose here, you've got to push this out and to get that back in. No big deal. Same thing with the front here. You got this little latch. Nice little storage thing there for the gun. And this thing's pretty light. I think, I can't remember if it says 20 pounds in there. I don't know. This doesn't, either I'm a lot stronger than I remember, or this doesn't really feel like 20 pounds to me, but maybe 15, I don't know, it could be 20, I guess, but it's nice. It's on little rollers here. Nothing's too special, but you know, you barely need to roll it. You just pick this thing up and move it around. Let's talk about the back here. Okay, so it's supposed to be diluted. I've seen a lot of different detergents that are made specifically for pressure washers, and they're very liquidy. So it's not any kind of a thick soap like, you know, if you were to throw a heavy-duty car wash soap in there that, you know, that's like syrup, this thing's not going to work so well. All right, so everything's got to be diluted pretty well before it can be siphoned out and used in here. I honestly, in my other pressure washer, I've never used soap in the actual pressure washer itself. So maybe I'll try it here with this one, but I've never done it myself to see how well it works. The big nozzle is generally what you could use if you know, you wanted to do some gentle washing with soap, or just to get some soap on, soapy water in that on something, and then maybe let it soak in and then use the water to blow it off. But in general, pressure washers, the idea behind it is that you really don't need a lot of soap, because there's so much pressure, it just blows the dirt right off. Also forgot to mention, this is rated at 2.6 gallons per minute. I don't know exactly where they get that rating from. In other words, if you were to throw on the different nozzles, I think you're going to get different rates. So I may test that. If I've got time, I'm going to test that just to see. But yeah, anyway, I got a feeling it's like one of those numbers where they throw out the 3,000 PSI. So even if I were to test that here and give you a number, the other ones aren't going to give you that real accurate number either, unless you see it tested. So anyway, that's it for the specs. Okay, also the soap container comes off. So you could bring this somewhere else, fill it up, do whatever. And then you can see it's got a nice long hose, so it'll stay at the bottom of the container, which is nice. Let's move that over here. Obviously, this is where your hose goes into. And if you take a look, this is all metal here. This will actually unscrew from the pressure washer itself. So, you know, I don't know why you'd want to change this at all, but if this gets damaged in some way, you can just replace it, or maybe put a quick fitting on there or something like that. So that's pretty slick. I like that. Also, you see the screen here, filter. So if you do happen to run into a low pressure situation or something weird, just check this filter out. It could be clogged up and you're not getting a good supply. Okay, something else that I might end up doing, I'm not sure, okay, I'm not sure. But if I'm thinking about using this just for my car, and if I'm doing that, maybe I want to mount it up on my wall and keep it there. So really, I could remove this handle and use this to hang it on the wall. I could take this off because I wouldn't need it. And you know, you could even remove the wheels if you want, and it would lay pretty flat against the wall then. Or, you know, could just leave everything on here, and you could, if you have a hook, you know, if you look around my garage here, I do like to put things up on the wall. Keeps things nice and organized. This will probably just be sitting on the ground because, you know, that's what it's designed for. But with this on the back here, I can just hang it on the wall. Okay, about to get started here. I've got the hose connected, but the water is not on yet. So the first thing we're going to do though is, and what you need to do is you kind of need to bleed the system, meaning that you don't want to turn the power on this yet because the water is not going to be completely flowing through this system yet. There's going to be a lot of air pockets. It's not the best thing for the motor to be running without water running through it. So I'm going to turn the water on, spray the hose. When we start getting normal pressure, water, like straight water through here, not air and water, then I'm going to turn it on and we can start working. Highly advise getting some safety glasses if you don't already have them, because when you're spraying things with pressure, water, something's going to come flying back. Actually, stuff comes flying back all over the place. You'll learn if you've never done it before. You might even want to get a hat or something. And then what I'm going to do is try the different nozzles that, you know, I'm not even going to mess with this nozzle here. This is probably going to be too much. You damage a lot with using a nozzle like this, a 0 degree nozzle. But these bricks, this sidewalk here, very dirty, definitely needs to be sprayed off. So I'm going to do a little bit of that and then try it on maybe the siding or something that's just some basic vinyl siding, which has some whatever, mold dirt on there. All right, so let's get going. I'm going to start with this 40, which is kind of the least aggressive pressure. You know, this one is the least aggressive, but it's not going to do anything. Okay, water's on, but this is not on. So let's see. Oh, it's got a lock and unlock on here. Lock, unlock. So when it's locked, can't pull the trigger. It's a nice safety feature. Unlock. Hear that water? Okay, now let's wait. You're gonna get a lot of, you're gonna get some air pockets. I think we're good to go. Okay, let's turn this on. Okay, build up some pressure. Okay, so far I am not a big fan of this nozzle because you can see getting a lot of pressure here and here, not as much in here. So not liking this one so much, but you can see it working. All right, it is clearing this brick out. I mean, look how dirty this is. Let's try the next one down. Let's go with the 25. Be very careful. You never put your hand here. This will tear your skin right off, okay? Just, anyway, think about it. Yeah, I'm liking this one a lot more already. Let's see. Yeah, this one's a lot more even. It's not perfectly even. You can see it's a lot more consistent. You're still getting more pressure on the edges, and this is fairly standard for nozzles. What makes higher pressure washers better is that, for example, if you had a good nozzle, a good 40-degree nozzle, and you had much higher pressure, you could stand further back, put out a wider swath of higher pressure to clean. So in other words, I have to use on this pressure washer a more narrow band in order to clean. Well, it's going to take longer to clean then with this than it would with a wider band and more pressure. So that's really kind of why people want higher pressure washers. But anyway, you can see this is working well. And also the pressure washer, if you listen to it, it's not noisy. Honestly, I expected this to be more noisy. That's not bad. I mean, you can still hear me talking, I'm assuming. That's not that bad. So going back to my comparison between this and my gas pressure washer, this only comes on when you hit the lever. That is fantastic because the gas one runs all the time. Once you start it up, it doesn't stop running and making a ton of noise and a ton of exhaust until you turn it off. I don't care what you're doing with the trigger, how much pressure you're doing, it's always running. So yeah, this is fantastic. So not only is it a lot more quiet when it's running, it's not always running. And I don't have to sit here and turn this thing on and off all day. Yeah, so far, big fan. The only thing here though I don't like is, see, you get it's spraying in this way. If I want to turn the fan to a different way, the pattern, I can't do it easily. So if you don't want to mess with this because you'll take it off, and you can't just turn, this is just turning this holder. You can't easily turn this, so you have to go all the way down here to the nozzle to turn the pattern. So if you see that, and you got to be careful doing this, again, you don't want your fingers to get into the pressure side there. You have to rotate it like this. Okay, that is a bit of a downside. So yeah, you could see the dirt here does not want to come off nearly as easily as the dirt does over here. And you can see why much higher pressure would do this work faster. So that's the up and down side. And you know what? I'm going to try, well, this is a 25. Let me put the 15 on here and see what it does. Wow, that's nice. Nice. And that was one-handed. Okay, so final review. Why do I like this thing so much better than my gas pressure washer? First off, it has about the same output, slightly less probably than my gas pressure washer, but this thing is way more convenient. There's no more gas, no more oil, super quiet, no exhaust smells either. My gas pressure washer is so noisy that if I use it for more than 10 minutes at a time, I wear ear protection. Not only is this one so much more quiet, but it's not running all the time. The gas pressure washer, once you turn that thing on, it runs all the time. It doesn't stop until you turn it off. This one, on the other hand, as soon as you pull that trigger to use it, it turns on. As soon as you stop, it turns off. Gas one doesn't, just keeps running and running and running no matter what you're doing to the trigger. The gas one, it's a lot more heavy, it's a lot more bulky, and there's gas in it. Sometimes I want to take the pressure washer somewhere, right? I don't know, wherever. Anyway, I want to bring it somewhere. This, I just toss it in the car. It's going to fit in my trunk. You pick it up, no problem. There's no gas, no oil, nothing's going to come leaking out of this thing. My gas one, on the other hand, though, it's got gas in it. I just can't throw it anywhere I want. First of all, it's difficult to lift. You can't tip it anywhere. Gas could spill out, oil could spill out. Huge pain. Yeah, in this one, it's just super light. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's 20 pounds. It doesn't feel like it really, but maybe it's 20 pounds. I was just picking it up by the handle and moving it around. I wasn't even using the wheels. So, as I said before, the gas one, I couldn't even start it this year, so what's wrong with it? I don't know. Maybe it's the ignition. Maybe just the gas is bad. Maybe the spark plug. Maybe the air filter's too clogged. I don't know, but I don't want to deal with it. So this one puts out about the same amount of pressure as my gas pressure washer, rated at 2600 psi. Maybe a little bit less, but what I'm using it for, the vinyl siding, the landscaping bricks, the sidewalk, my car, I don't need that much power. So because this one is going to be so easy to just pull out, plug in, hook the water up to, and use, I'm going to be using it a lot more often. The only downside to any pressure washer that has a lower rating than a giant gas pressure washer, and by the way, my 2600 psi rated gas pressure washer, that's not enough power either to do what I'm about to talk about, which would be like a really large deck. If you've got a deck that's 8 by 10, 10 by 10, you can get away with using this depending on how dirty the deck is. If you've got a really large deck though, the best way to do it is to get a larger pressure washer that puts out like 4,000 psi or something. Get one of those cool, they make these cleaners with a bunch of nozzles in there, and it's really close to the ground, so you can just kind of roll this thing around and clean the deck off. Oh my God, those things are awesome. But I tried using one time. I've got one. I think it only has 3 or 4 nozzles on it. My 2600 psi couldn't do it. Right? That one couldn't even do it. Yeah, that is the only downside to using a smaller pressure washer like this. That's it. But for all of the other benefits I get out of it, it's worth it. So overall, way happy with this electric pressure washer, okay? I don't know why. I didn't think it was going to be that great. After using it for about an hour or so, I could see the benefit. So that's it. Big thumbs up. I'm liking it.